All right, so we're doing 10.3 today, finding linear models, and we start off with the point-slope formula, which is y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1, where m is your slope and x1, y1 is any point on the line. All right. So it says find the equation of the line that passes through the point 1, -3 and has the slope of -2. All right, let me erase this stuff so we can walk through it. All right, so your slope is -2, so that'll be our m, and 1, -3 is x1, y1. So when we go to our formula of y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1, we are plugging in for those three variables, y1, m, and x1. So that's y minus -3 equal to -2 times x minus 1. Here we have a negative to a negative, so that's going to turn positive. Then we distribute this -2, be -2x plus 2. Then to finish it off, we will subtract 3 from both sides. And y is equal to -2x minus 1. All right, any questions on that? All right, for the next one, we have the same type of scenario, but it's in a word problem form. All right, so based on data from Kelley Blue Book, the value of a car decreases approximately, the APP for approximately $250 a month. If the value of the car 2 years after purchase was $14,000, find the linear function that models the value after X months of ownership. Use this function to find the value after 3 years. So I'll give you a chance to write that before we get started on that problem. All right, so let's look at our setup first. They tell us that X is months after ownership. So it means our Y has to be the value after X months. So they give us 2 years initially, and then after purchase, it was $14,000. Also, whenever you have a rate, your slope is a rate. So here they give us $250 per month. That's going to be your slope. Your slope is always going to be a rate, and it decreases. So since it decreases at $250 a month, that's going to be negative 250. So make sure you pay attention to those keywords, because if it increased at 250 a month, then it would have been a positive 250. So going back to X1, Y1, that's 2 years and $14,000. So now we have to be careful here, is because X represent months of ownership, but they give us our first value of ownership in years. So we need to convert that by multiplying it by 12, because there are 12 months in a year. So make sure you're paying attention once again to those keywords. So before we go any further, are we okay? All right. So we have this formula that we used earlier, y minus y1 equal m times x minus x1. So our x1, y1, we already stated was 24 and 14,000, and m was negative 250. So plug that in, 14,000 for y1, negative 250 for m, and then 24 for x1. Distribute, and you have y minus 14,000, negative 250x, and then negative 250 times 24 will be positive 6,000. Then to finish solving the equation, you're going to add 14,000 to both sides. 14,000 cancel on the left, leaving you with just y, and then it's negative 250x plus 20,000. All right. So to finish off the problem, they also asked us how much would the car be valued after 3 years. Once again, they gave it to us in years. So make sure you convert that years to months by multiplying the 3 by 12. So that would be 36 months. Plug the 36 in for x. So once again, this function, this relationship does not work if you leave it in years, because they told you initially that it was for be for months. So we plug in 36. Negative 250 times 36 is negative 9,000. Add that to 20,000, and that'll give you 11,000. So the car will be worth $11,000 after 3 years. Any questions? All right, so the other way that you could get your information in this section, notice last problem they gave us a slope and a point. They could give you 2 points and ask you to find the equation. So find the equation of the line that passes through 2 points, 6, -4, and 3, 2. So the first thing you would do is establish which one is your point 1 and which one is your point 2. So, so I call point 1 6, -4, and then point 2 3, 2. Once you establish your which one you call them point 1, which one you call them point 2, now you find your slope. And remember that your slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 is 2, y1 is -4, x2 is 3, x1 is 6. So 2 minus -4 would be 6, because negative is positive. 3 minus 6 would be -3. 6 over -3 is -2. All right. Then we'll use either point for the Pointslope formula. I decided to go ahead and use 6 and -4, since what I've already called x1, y1. All right. So plug them in. Y1 is -4. M is 2. X1 is 6. Distribute that -2. Right here, negative negative turns positive, so it'll be y plus 4, -2x plus 12. Subtract 4. Y is equal to -2x plus 8. All right. Let's look at the next one. So here in this one, we have sodium thiosulfate. It's used by photographers to develop some types of film. The table gives the number of grams of sodium thiosulfate that will dissolve in 100 milliliters of water at various temperatures. All right, so I'll raise it in a second. All right, so they gave a chart. I didn't write down the values in the chart because they told us in the directions to use specific values. So I only wrote down the values that they told us to use. So the chart had in the top row temperature X in degrees Celsius, and then sodium thiosulfate dissolved Y in grams. So we have pretty much 2 points, two X and Y sets, two ordered pairs. So we have 20 and 50, 100, 230. So very similar to what we just did, but in a word problem form. So we have 20 and 50, 100 and 230. So then it says how many grams of thiosulfate does the model predict will dissolve in 100 milliliters of water when the temperature is 70 degrees Celsius. So we have to take those 2 points, use it to find slope, and then create that equation, plug in. So 2050 I call x1, y1, 100, 230 I call x2, y2. The first thing you do is find slope. If you have your 2 points and no slope, we need to find the slope first. That's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Y2 is 230. Y1 is 50, so it's 230 minus 50. And then on bottom 100 for x2 minus 20, which is x1. $230 minus 50 is 180. 100 minus 20 is 80. Just because of the nature of the problem, I went ahead and divided it out. Had 2.25 as my decimal. You didn't necessarily have to divide it out. You could have left it in fractional form if you like. So once you have a slope, you can go ahead and use either point. Doesn't matter which point you use, but you use either point to find the equation of the line. So plug in for y1, m, and x1. That'll give me y minus 50 equal to 225 or 2.25 times x minus 20, excuse me. We'll distribute 225. So y minus 50 equal to 2.25x minus 45. 2.25 times 20 would be 45. Now we'll add 50 to both sides. And that'll give us an equation of y equal to 2.25x plus 5. All right. So now to finish off the problem, they want to know how much, let's go back and see what they asked. How many grams of thiosulfate does the model predict will dissolve in 100 milliliters of water when the temperature is 70 degrees Celsius? So we're going to take the 70 degrees, plug it into the equation for x. So that's y equal to 2.25 times 70 plus 5. 2.25 times 70 is 157.5. Then add 5, that'll be 162.5 grams. questions? Any questions? All right. So that is it for 10.3. Let's look. I think the next section is 11.1. Okay, so the next section, well, that's actually it for chapter 10 altogether. So the next section is 11.1. So we hold off on that and go into the next class with 11, chapter 11. And yeah, so your next test will be on 10 and 11. There are a couple sections in 11. So think about two sections in 11. So there will be three sections out of 10 and then two sections out of chapter 11 that your next test will be on. So we don't have to rush it. And we'll just leave that for Friday, or chapter 11 starts for Friday. Any questions, concerns, comments before we look to close there? All right. So if you guys are okay, then we can get ready. We can go ahead and close out. Don't forget, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. If you need to meet outside of class, email me so we can set up a session and just be like an office hour. So I'm here to help, and we'll go from there. So if you are straight, I will see you on next class. Have a great day.